So in the Live-In app, it says maturity is realizing that no contact is not avoidance, it's healing from anxious attachment. Panicking when someone needs space is not love, neither is overthinking every word or doubting their love or begging for reassurance. And sacrificing your own needs to keep them close is not healthy. For example, let's say a woman with a wounded inner girl. She craves love and attention more than anything, but unconditional love does feel unfamiliar and suspicious. She might even choose abusive or neglectful love because not because she wants pain, but because it felt like home. Because of, and that obviously chasing a narcissist, somebody who's like not able to love, and then mistaking trauma for love. So Carl Jung says the meaning of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there's a reaction, both are transformed. And on Instagram, this tantric union and kill the ego, two different accounts, kill.the.ego and tantric_union. Because we don't just fall in love, we react. When two people connect deeply, it's not just emotional. Hormones shift. Brain waves sync. Even immune systems adjust. Real connection is an alchemy that rewires the mind and body. If it's real, you don't stay the same. You think you're choosing your partner, but your body's already responding. When you meet someone new, your heart rate adapts, your pupils change size, and tiny signals in your breath shift. It's not just attracting, it's a full body scan. Modern science calls this resonance. Body picks up safety, energy, and chemistry before the logic gets a vote. If you listen to your gut, it's often wiser than your thoughts. Because trauma doesn't block love, it reshapes how we love. We carry emotional scars in our nervous system like old burns, and when someone gets close, those places light up, not to hurt us, but to be felt. It's not that your partner triggers you, it's that they activate what's been frozen. That ache, that fear, it's just the body asking, can I open here? Most problems in love are old wounds asking for presence, not fixing. And I went to a coda meeting, well, I went to two, and this is what I learned from the two of them, that God gave me the chance to have a self, to be able to connect more deeply rather than avoiding the inevitable disappointment and lack of contact that caused me to use and abuse by forcing me to not be able to be codependent as riskfully as dangerously. If it didn't work anymore, like the substances, like we think, the same with codependent relating. It's cortisol, it's anxiety. It's really horrible. There's a withdrawal, which is even as bad, some people say, as drugs. And the withdrawal is not as bad as that cortisol and those feelings of stress and fear and anger, trying to cling to someone or manipulate or dominate into caring about me or being loyal. But I'm loyal now, so the loyalty could live in me. I don't need to get the loyalty from them. Consistency, discipline, I could have that live in me. And asking for God's will is about self-care, because the medicine and the affirmations, which helps us to take responsibility for our own self, including our self-esteem and our functional identification, like what identity is functional for us, and our capacity for showing up and expressing ourselves, is what allows us to be around people who are able to pick us up and healthy, where we don't have to use all that energy just to get a little bit of love. Like when the tide is high, all the boats rise. When there's a high love, like a real love, everybody's involved. In another coda meeting, I was learning that pushing people away when they're, so this is like some lists, they say some traits. Pushing people away once they're close. Needing to be heard, but you don't want to bully or force a man to be your father and listen with full attention. Actually, I said that in my words. But one of the traits they said is pushing people away once they're close. So I thought, where do I do that? There's a way that, like, sometimes I need to be heard. So if I don't want to bully or force a man to be my father and listen with full attention when they didn't even want to listen, they didn't care. I realized women are for that. Therapists, like, there's space where I need to talk. Sometimes it still comes up, right? I just need to, like, get it out. And then there's this idea of the comfort zone with codependency. We're about healing the sense of how do we feel when we're out of control, and the shame that could potentially come up for someone who's codependent. And this is where it's like outside the comfort zone. And then there's also a fear for some people that if someone is not dependent, they will not be loyal or trustworthy. And it's stuck like the inner child version of the person, me, you, who does not believe that we could stand on our own 2 feet, or that life's joys, pleasures, and beauties are worth experiencing even alone. That's B. And C, not having the confidence always that we might have enough clarity or with wherewithal to rely on ourselves enough to make it through till the partner, or even like generating enough passion, meaning to motivate ourselves, even though we know it's unsustainable to expect someone else to commit to taking care of and committing and showing up consistently for my inner child, which is my responsibility to be a partner with my inner child. But also this idea that, like, it's never free will, right? Because if we always have to make them be dependent, then in their free will, we never get that free will love, which we really need. That's what we really need. And some Torah perspectives in Rambam tractate Talmud, from the Talmud tractate Nedarim, Masechta Nedarim, and the Rambam, we learn the 95th mitzvah commandment. Annulling vows has to follow certain laws, though annulling vows is not a commandment that we must perform. So the father for the daughter, as written in Bamidbar Numbers 30, verses 4 to 17, and the husband for a wife, as written in Bamidbar Numbers 30, verse 3. The oral Torah says that the Torah scholar could actually nullify. This is written in Barachos 32a and Chagiga 10a. The Torah scholar can nullify someone's vows. He may not nullify his word, but others may nullify for him. So basically, a Torah scholar can nullify someone else's vows. And two, it also says in the oral Torah tradition in Chagiga 10a that others say that the laws regarding the annulment of vows by a Torah scholar are flying in the air. There's nothing to support them. It's not for real. You can't nullify someone else's vows. A Torah scholar doesn't have the ability to nullify your vows. Then the Torah, or Chaim 27, says the straps of the head tefillin are required to extend past the navel. So I thought that was really interesting because it's like saying that the straps, should go past the navel. You could take what you want with that. I just thought it's very interesting that there's this head and this gut, mind-brain connection, like from our tradition. And then Midrash Shmuel in Perkei Avos, chapter 3, Mishnah 9, it says, Rebbe Chanina ben Dosa says, anyone whose fear of sin precedes his wisdom will endure. Anyone whose wisdom precedes his fear of sin, his wisdom will anyone whose fear of sin precedes his wisdom, the wisdom will endure. But anyone whose wisdom precedes his fear of sin, his wisdom will not endure. So if we value our knowledge more than the purity of our character, we will ultimately lose our knowledge as well and remain what they call bald from both sides. Then Barachos 14b, which is the Talmud, it says, anyone who says Shema without tefillin is like someone who offered a karban sacrifice without nesachim, libations. So in other words, if we do something without it being the proper way, it's like comparing to like giving like something without the proper inclusion. And I want to share a couple more things. So first of all, this is Rosh Chodesh Tishrei we just had. So Shana Tova Mituka to everyone who's listening. A happy sweet new year. But it's also Rosh Chodesh Tishrei that just happened. So I have something I wrote from Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. So Tammuz, let's see when that was. Tammuz of Elul Tishrei. The whole of Tammuz, the whole of Elul. So 3 months ago, that I had 3 intentions: to start minding my own business more, stop over-explaining as much, and when triggered, 3, recognize its divine gift of free energy if I don't react, lash out, become hateful and angry. And I've been working on this, but they're very hard for me to see immediate gratification from my efforts. So I want to go deeper. I'm, learning about vulnerability versus manipulation. We talked earlier about how in codependency you have to convince someone, force someone, manipulate someone, dominate them. But vulnerability, right? So if you do what the other wants and don't do what they don't want when you can, then you will trust people won't do what you won't want and will do what you want. When you use the will for doing good rather than harm, you start to live in a benevolent world that's not malevolent. If it's okay for me to manipulate, abuse, degrade, disrespect, lie, and cheat, then it's okay for my partner too. It's a relationship, and we're relating to in all relationships. It is literally a mental disability, a brain damage, to be unable to be honest with ourselves and others. And that's why they say abuse is addiction. It's when we're using things. We're not able to be honest. We must lie. It's like pathological. And it causes brain damage in the brain to lie. And I think I have that coming up in another section sometime in the future. And thinking of myself, like accounting, like doing my accounts, because now I'm starting the year in balance, I had to look at my will, my intention, my fears, my motivations, my resentments and desires, where I'm coming from, where I'm going. And then I realized I've done enough. This is something I did a few months ago, knowing that the new year was coming. I've done enough crying and yelling and threatening and begging and trading and bribing and arguing and explaining. And I deserve now love and care and support and nurture and understanding and trust and respect and honesty. Someone who from his own free will seeks to please me and has integrity, loyalty, someone I can lean on and express myself to. And I want to share, there's something, it's called Beyond Painful Patterns. It's an app. And I read about different types of narcissism. So I wanted to clarify this because earlier I mentioned someone who chases a narcissist. Now, a narcissist is someone who temporarily or more of a long-term, identity is not able to empathize with others because of the needs that they have. So this is someone who can't meet my needs. It's not normal the level of calling everyone narcissist nowadays, but we could just say, like, you know, the idea that somebody is not able to be there for me, this person cannot meet my needs. It's something, it's something that we could actually, like, allow it to be, you know, a lesson on finding a way that we could, or stop investing in people who don't care about us. So Beyond Painful Patterns is the app, and they said there's different types of narcissism. And there's the self-righteous, moralistic kind. Then there's the parental kind, who's like into control. Then there's the exploitative kind, which is an opportunist. There's the malignant one, which is the destructive one. There's the compensatory one, which is a rebuilder. Somatic, which is body focused. The covert, which is hidden. Communal, who's the helper. There's cerebral, who's intellectual. Sexual, who's the charmer. Overt, who's blatant. The victim, who's the martyr. And the antagonistic, who's defensive. So we don't have to really use the word narcissist so much. We could say somebody who's a little bit too body focused for me, or too self-righteous, or too intellectual, or too charming, or too blatant, or too much of a martyr or a helper. These are good enough reasons already why maybe that person is not a good fit for us. And we don't have to call them a narcissist. And the last thing I want to share is group conscience. So this is in a Just for Today email. One of the most important principles is service. It's vital to remember that it's group conscious that counts, not just our own individual beliefs and thoughts. And this is getting out of our narcissism. Each person's narcissist. We like take care of the inner narcissist so that we can see that everyone has their inner narcissist, and then all together we just could think about others. So we lend our thoughts and beliefs to the development of a group conscience, and then when that conscience arises, we accept its guidance. We trust that the key is working with others, not against them. And if we remember that we can strive together to develop a collective conscience, we can see that all sides have equal merit. And when the discussions are over, all the sides will come back together to carry a unified message. It's often tempting to think we know what's best for the group. If we remember that it doesn't matter if we get our way, then it's easier to allow service to be the vehicle it's intended to be, a way to carry the message to the one who still suffers, the user, the narcissist, the addict. And just for today, this affirmation we say, I will take part in the development of group conscience. I'll remember that the world won't end just because I don't get my way. I'll think about our primary purpose in all my service efforts. I'll reach out to the newcomer. And we'll stop here. I'm probably going to do another video shortly because tomorrow's Friday and I have to travel somewhere to get for the Sabbath. Okay, to go away for the weekend. So you'll probably see me again shortly. I'm going to do another video. Bye-bye.